I spent 24 hours in Subnautica 2's early access, and I wanted to give my unbiased and honest thoughts on the game so far. Now, this game is in current development, so things are subject to change, but I still thought I'd give a review of the game because I had a lot of fun with it. Now, I have beat the entire story so far, but I will be keeping this video spoiler free, so if you haven't played this already, I will give you my honest thoughts without spoiling anything for you. But Unknown Worlds has said that they're looking for collaboration with the community to make this game even better, so I thought I will give my thoughts on it. And to put it in a few words, it's a lot of fun, but vulnerable. You've probably seen a lot of the reviews out there talking about how there's not enough ways to deal with the aggressive fish, and that is partially true, but it feels like it's kind of part of the experience here to be in this unknown world, dealing with all the issues that come with it, and you really get a lot of that within this game. So I'll start with what I think that they did well. Base building is incredible. Like, if you played Subnautica 1, you'll know this is one of the best survival games going, and the base building and everything that comes with it is great as well in this game. Now, there is just one issue. There's no sprint button, but that is something that they'll be adding in the very first patch, so they are working to continuously improve this game. But honestly, the building of bases feels very fluid. There's nothing super clunky outside of setting up the ladders in weird places and some little things like the water, clipping through here. But honestly, I'm having a lot of fun building a ton of different bases in this game. You can play like survival or a creative mode and just create bases as much as you want. This is exceptionally fun if you're playing with others, because you can have, like, if you've played other games like Valheim and others, you can have one person go out gathering the resources and another building. You can swap and things like that. And I gotta say that the base building is very well done. So you do have this tool here that lets you build a variety of different things. You got your standard elements like your rooms and your hatches, so you can set up a base the way you want it. And you can get really creative with this. Like the corridors here, you can actually use it to bypass some of the hardest regions in the game by just creating a very long corridor. So creativity is rewarded in this game. And you can set up some really nice looking bases, especially if you want to have like a little UFC match right outside it. You can set up right by the aggressive fish here and watch them duke it out all night. Now, this is the very first base that I set up. It is kind of a mess, but I actually really enjoy it. The base building in general is one of the strong suits of this game, and to be expected. Like, this is kind of the whole point of the game, is setting up the bases, moving along throughout the world, and they do it very well. And all the elements for base building feels pretty complete. Like, you do get a full experience here. There are some things that feel a bit clunky coming from Subnautica 1, like in particular the scanner station, which only lets you seek out one mineral or one type of object at a time, where in the previous one you had more options there. But this is something I could see them updating as the game progresses. And it's not just the base building that I think they did very well. The exploration in this game is top notch. Like, if you played the very first game, you'll know that's kind of like the whole thing about Subnautica, is exploring this world that you know nothing of and seeing all the evil and good that comes within it. And they honestly nailed it in this game. There's lots of environmental storytelling that I think is very well done. There's so many logs that you can pick up, as like in most games like this, where you get pieces of the lore in the game, and they do a great job of displaying all of that. There's lots of questions that you're asking, and there's a real sense of hopelessness that you don't really see in other games. And if you played Subnautica 1, this game ends up feeling a lot darker in terms of the tone and overall, like, what's happening in the world. And I think that suits it very well, because not only that, you have these fish that are just completely chomping at the bits nonstop, so you never feel safe unless you're like in your base and well protected. And I think that helps out with the overall atmosphere of this game as well. I gotta say though, the lore of this game, without getting into any spoilers, I really enjoyed it. If you played Subnautica 1, you know there's like alien involvement, and I think that they done that very well. There's some very clear inspirations in the actual storytelling here, and I do think that they actually rocked out and did a really good job with it. And yeah, the environmental storytelling is really well done. There are about 16 different biomes currently in the early access, and each of them has its own like feel to it. Like, we're currently in a pretty hot one here. Whenever you find all the logs and stuff in this area, it makes sense, and I think they did a great job with that. You hear a scary fish right now, and that I think makes it even better, because there are some areas of the game that are kind of frightening. Like, I set up a base here, which lets you watch some pretty freaky stuff happen. And for example, what makes it so scary is, like, we got our little starting area here in the biomes. So you got this like heated zone, which is a little bit more frightening, but then it drops off this large cliff here into literal nothingness. There is stuff down there, and what lurks beyond is absolutely terrifying, as you can see. Now, I love playing horror games. I don't find horror games to be scary, but I find Subnautica 2 to be quite frightening. If you play this game with headphones on at nighttime, you're vulnerable. As I said at the start of this video, you don't have ways of dealing with the horrors from the deep here, like what you see in front of me right now. So that's what makes this game so frightening, is you can't really do anything about the literal freaks in front of you. And I honestly like that. I do see why some people would want this game to have ways to actually like fight things, similar to how Subnautica 1 had some ways to actually like knife the fish and stuff like that. But I think it actually works in this context. We'll have to see how the game develops, but they did say that they will be adding some ways to deal with the fish and make their aggression a little bit less. This big fella right here is very annoying to deal with, and I like it. It actually makes the game feel like a lot higher stakes, which makes everything just feel more important. However, there are ways to deal with the hard difficulties here. Like, you can swim at the bottom and there's ways to like hide from him. You can also swim up to the very top and just hop over the water. Oh, he angry. There are also safety zones, like he won't come over here. So that is the big scary thing of the game right now, and I know a lot of people aren't enjoying it because you can't do anything about it, but I think it's a strong suit for this game. And the world itself is beautiful too, so you have things to enjoy while you're dealing with the horrors from the deep. So I think that that actually combines together. Like, this game is beautiful, straight up just gorgeous. They have an actual solar system, and it actually makes sense within the game. Like, they definitely put a lot of time and attention to detail into the whole solar system here. And if you need a way, you can just hop out of the water like this. Oh god. So I made it to the opposite end here. It was a close call, but one of the cool things is you can actually get up close and personal. Like, with certain upgrades, you can turn yourself invisible. He's gonna go and try to attack that. I'm actually gonna get out of here. This is scary because he will grab it and smash it apart, but you do have safety if you come over to certain areas. So the scary parts of this game, there's ways around it. So for those that are kind of afraid of certain things, you don't have to worry. You can actually counter a lot of the difficult things within this game. They're minor annoyances at best. I've seen some people saying they completely ruins the game, and I think that that is kind of overhyping it. It is difficult, but in a certain way you can, find out ways to deal with it. And that's kind of the nature of this game. Again, we're in a world that we know nothing about, and you're kind of piecing it all together as you go. Which sets up like the story itself, which again, I don't really want to touch too much on because I really enjoyed the story so far, and I'm excited to see what comes next. They actually set it up very well, and it's different enough from Subnautica 1 to actually feel like it makes sense. But yeah, this is the other section of the map so far. So like, there's a huge section over there, and you can come all the way over to here where there's even more scary stuff. And with this game, you can set your bases up anywhere in the world, but there are some locations that just make a lot more sense because you need to power your bases. So you can have solar panels that change, like the deeper you are, you get less energy out of them. And there's also things that generate power from the currents that you'll be finding, and also from heat. So there are some areas in the game where it like really wants you to set up a base, but you don't have to abide by the rules. But there are some areas that you're like heavily incentivized to set up a base just to make things less annoying for the story purposes, like this base that I have here. And yeah, you can get real creative with pretty much everything that you do in this game. So yeah, I think the base building is great. I think the story is really well done so far, and obviously that's going to get set up even further. You feel hopeless, and I think that that's kind of the tone of this game, which they nailed. I think the biomes are really pretty, and just the overall map layout is pretty well done. There isn't an actual map, and I know that that could be a downside for a lot of people, but I actually think that it works out pretty well. Like, you can see your coordinates on the map, so there is ways to like deal with that. And all the videos I've done on guides on this, like, you can just make a direct route from the life pod to pretty much everything in this game. And there's also, again, some places that are typically going to be set up as your base. And there's just something about traveling in the water like you see here. I have no idea. Oh, there's the early access end. I have no idea what is going ahead here. Like, that's the thing with this game. Again, you're exploring and figuring it out as you go. There's a lot of things that are just, pretty frightening to deal with, and that's just what makes it beautiful. Now, the downsides, I think a lot of people understand. The fish are very aggressive here. This one in particular is kind of funny. It can't sense you unless you start moving. So like, it was coming up to fight me because it heard it. It was going to zap me like it just did there. But since I'm not moving, it doesn't deal with me. So there, again, is ways to deal with the fish, but they actually have set out and said that some of the predator encounters do feel more frustrating than exciting. And yeah, that is kind of how I feel in certain ways. Like, I do enjoy it personally, but I can see how this could be annoying to a lot of other people, as the mitigation tools are not always clear, reliable, or satisfying, and players do not always have confidence in how to respond when a creature attacks. That's not the experience they want. So they are looking to improve this experience. They will be changing the creature aggression, timing, and aggro range, and the flare effectiveness, which is the only way you can really deal with fish at the current moment. They have heard people wanting the ability to kill fish, which I don't really think that this is a game that really necessitates that, because there are ways around it, and you're kind of like exploring in a world you gotta survive in it somehow. So having some ways to be able to deal with it, but I just don't think that you need to kill the fish. I know I've got a lot of comments saying that they won't play this game until that happens, but there are ways around pretty much everything right now, and they're committed to making this even better. But they did say in the coming weeks they'll be delivering a series of improvements aimed at addressing any of the concerns that players do have, which I think is a really nice response. As there is some locations that do feel pretty hopeless. Like, there's certain sections that whenever I make it there, I go in, grab what I need, and I get out right away, because it's just so dangerous to stay there. So I'm in one of them right now, and I hear some noises that I don't like. Like right now, I know there's a Leviathan over there, and I know there's a Leviathan over there. I feel kind of trapped right now, but the thing is, you can always escape from these situations, but they will be adding some ways to fix this in the future. But they also have a creative mode, so if you don't want to, deal with some of the horrors of this game, you do have that option there. You can just go around building your bases, so they kind of have something for everyone here, but some changes to the survival mode, which they will be doing, I think is really necessary. So to recap, base building, amazing. The exploration is also quite great. I've been really enjoying that aspect of it. I think the story and the lore itself is also really well done, especially if you like the lore from Subnautica 1, because it's a nice little twist on that. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to keep this as spoiler free as possible. Collecting blueprints and all that was pretty exciting to find the locations of each of these, and they are all placed in pretty well done locations. The only really downsides being obviously the aggression of the fish, which they are looking to address in future patches, so this will be something that they will be clearly addressing. So honestly, I really like the early access so far. I'm excited for more updates, as I've pretty much done every single thing you possibly can do in this, but you can always just mess around, build bases, play with your friends. Like, there's like a ton of content in this already. As I said, I played over 24 hours in this so far, and there's still so much for me to do without even really, getting even further. So when the new content drops, that'll be amazing. But overall, so far, the early access, if I were to give it a scale on a 1 to 10 review, I'd honestly say it's like an 8 to an 8.5. This will be, I think, a better game than Subnautica 1. So if you're a huge fan of the game, didn't like Below Zero, this game may be for you. So if you haven't played it, honestly, it's worth giving it a shot. There's more content in this game than I thought there would be, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So just want to give my honest thoughts on this game. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions regarding this. And yeah, stay tuned for more Subnautica 2 content, and we'll catch you in the next one.